Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omoyira Oluwatosin, and if you are new to my channel, please support me by clicking on the subscription button and also on the notification bell so that when I upload a new video, you'll be among the first person to get the notification. On the channel today, I'll be teaching you how to successfully install a facing on your dress. And if this is a tutorial you are interested in, please keep on watching. What you see in the video is my dress patterns and facing. So we have the front and back facing. The back facing, we have a pair that's one for the right and one for the left, because we are going to install a zipper at the center back of the dress. Now I've separated the facing, and this is how the facing is going to lay nice and flat on the back of your dress by the time you finish installing this facing. And for the front facing, you're going to cut it on fold. So I have done that already, and this is what I have. And when you unfold the facing, you should have a whole piece like this. So the next thing you want to do, you want to fold the facing in such a way that it's aligned perfectly well with the neckline of your dress pattern before you go ahead and add an interfacing on the facing. Facings is one of the method a fashion designer use to finish the neckline of a cloth. We have different method you can use to finish the neckline of a cloth, like adding a collar, like piping the neckline, and many more. So the length of my facing is 3 inches. You can use two. Standard is two and a half, but I'm going to use three for this tutorial. Now I'm going to set this aside and bring in my interfacing. The interfacing I'm going to work with is ST. You can see I have an ST here. You can work with any interfacing of your choice. We have paper stay, we have the nylon stay. You can work with any interfacing of your choice. Now I'm going to fold the interfacing in such a way that I'll be able to cut the front and back facing. Now I'm just going ahead to fold the interfacing. This is an S thing. After you fold, you're going to place the facing on it like the way you see me do. Make sure that the center front and center back is aligned with the straight part of the fold. And you can see how I align it perfectly well, making sure that the center front aligns on the straight part where it folds. So I can see that what I fold here is not enough. You are going to fold more because you want to cut the front and back facing at the same time. Now we have placed the front. Now we're going to place the back facing. Make sure that the center back is also on that folded edge like this. Now that we have our facing in place, I don't want to waste this interfacing. The next thing you want to do, you want to cut it out. Make sure you pin yours when you are cutting. It's because I've been doing this for a long time. That's why I'm cutting without a pin. For a starter, make sure you use a pin to pin down your facing before cutting it out. Now I'm going to take this to my iron table and activate the gum on the interfacing on the fabric. Now that I'm done, you can see that I have excess coming out from the edge. You are going to trim them off. After you trim this off, you take this to your weaving machine and weave the hem of the facing. Now I've brought it back. What you notice is that the hem of the facing have been weaved. You can see what I have here. I've weaved the hem of the facing. It is now time to install this facing. So the first thing you want to do, you want to sew the shoulder line of the facing, front facing to the back facing. Align the shoulder line like the way you see me doing in the video and pin it down. I'm going to be using my clip, so I'm using my clip to pin the shoulder to shoulder. You can see how perfect they align. Now you take it to your sewing machine and you're going to sew the shoulder line together. Repeat the same thing for the fabric as well. Your main fabric, that is your dress pattern. Pin the shoulder line together and sew them together. After I sew this, I iron it. This is what we have at the moment. Make sure you iron after you have sewed the shoulder line. I repeat the same thing for the facing as well. You can see that I've ironed it after sewing it. The next thing you want to do, you want to pin the facing to the fabric. You pin neckline to neckline. So make sure the right side of the fabric is facing you. Now you're going to pin the right side of the facing to the right side of the fabric, and make sure you notch your zipper point. There's a reason why you should notch that your zipper allowance. Now make sure that when you are putting the facing on the fabric, the shoulder line, I mean the shoulder point, they are matching. So that this is what we have. The next thing you want to do, you want to pin them together like so. After you are done pinning, you will take this to your sewing machine and stitch on an half-inch seam allowance. And when you want to start sewing, make sure that you start your sewing 1 inch away from the zipper point. There's a reason why you are doing that, and you are going to sew on a half-inch seam allowance. You can see that my stitch do not have a back stitch at the beginning of the sewing, and I started stitching 1 inch away from the zipper allowance. You can see 1 inch away from that zipper point, and I end my stitch on the other side 1 inch away from the zipper point, because by the time you add your zipper to this dress, you're still going to continue stitching, and I don't want to back stitch now, because you're going to backstitch when you start stitching. You don't want to create bulkiness around that part. Now the next thing you want to do, you want to notch close to the seam line to ease your facing. After you've notched, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to flip the seam allowance to the facing side and top stitch on a 1/8 seam allowance or 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now when you want to start to top stitch, make sure you stop top stitch 1 inch away from that where you start stitching from your first stitch. Now we are back. This is what we have. Make sure you remove the excess thread that you have. Now this is it. I have top stitch, and my top stitching starts 1 inch away from that first stitch line, because once you add your zip, you want to go ahead and continue your stitch up to the end of the center back, and you want to go ahead and continue your top. You continue the seam line, the first seam line, and you continue top stitching again. So that's why you are 2 inch away from the zipper allowance. Now after you are done, give your neckline a nice press. This is how it turned out. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumb up, like and share my video, and please don't forget to follow me on all of our social media platforms. Have a nice day and bye.